Hello, welcome to another English Sparkling with Tweedy video. Sorry, it's just my back garden, but at least there are grapes. The vineyard is doing pretty well with all this hot weather. I popped down to Knightsbridge earlier today. It was more about the Burgundy, if I'm honest. The English Sparkling side of things was a little bit of an afterthought. While I was there, I thought I would pop into Harvey Nichols, who used to have, I think, probably a larger wine shop on the top floor, but they've been possibly shifting things around. I don't go there very often. They've been possibly shifting things around to try and fit in more dining space, I think. So the wine shop was pretty tiny now, but there are still a small number of English sparkling wines on offer there. Chiefly, they still seem to be doing, I think, a long-running partnership with Rathfinny. They've been selling their stuff for a while now. And I picked this up almost by accident, thinking while I was in there, I might as well get another bottle of this classic mini, the groundbreaking 50 centilitre format that Rathfinny have pioneered. But I didn't actually read the label very carefully, and I realised, I thought I was just buying the same wine that I had featured before a while back, the 2023 classic mini. But this is, in fact, the rosé version, and I did not realise they'd even released a rosé version of this, of the mini. So that was a nice surprise when I got it to the till and actually read the label properly. Probably my eyesight's going, isn't it? And, the tiny letters on labels like this. Sometimes I miss the details, but there we go. I'm part of getting old. We'll say in advance, this is possibly not perfectly chilled. It's been in the fridge for 3.5 hours. It maybe needs a little bit longer than that in this sort of warm weather, but I don't know, just seemed like an appropriate time of the day to be opening a bottle. So there we have it. I did look at the grape breakdown on the web, and it was slightly interesting. First of all, one thing that jumped out was 30% Chardonnay. I know I've said this before, but there's no reason why a rosé can't contain some Chardonnay. I tend to assume it's going to have it's going to be pretty much dominated by Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier, the red or black grapes. But you are largely making a white wine and then just colouring it with a bit of still red wine when you're making a rosé, at least in one of the two main methods of making rosé. So there's no reason why it can't have a bit of Chardonnay in. 30% of that Chardonnay, but also an interesting addition there I don't think I've seen in a Rathfinny wine before, was about 10% of Pinot Noir Précoce. That is a grape that is known in Germany as Frühburgunder, with Pinot Noir being Spätburgunder. They make a distinction with early and late there, and Précoce you may recognise from the word precocious, meaning sort of an early developer. So it's the version of Pinot Noir that ripens earlier in the year. So it is I believe a very, very close cousin of Pinot Noir, but it does just ripen a little bit earlier, and that can be useful in some contexts, particularly here in England. So that's not something I've seen before in Rathfinny. I don't often see that mentioned by name in English Sparkling at all, actually. One final thing, I will get on to the actual the nosing they mentioned, it's partial malolactic fermentation as well. So I think initially I'm getting a lovely sort of strawberries and cream kind of nose from that. Soft red berry fruit, but a little bit of creaminess on the side of that, both from the autolytic character in a way, and also possibly from that partial malolactic fermentation, the fact that it has undergone at least some malolactic fermentation. So there'll be a little bit of lactic acid. That's normally something you'd experience more on the palate, but definitely some creaminess there, along with that nice soft red berry fruit. Might be a little hint of apple, but that's quite subtle. And maybe some stone fruit, a sort of gentle hint of something like peach there. But that is a very nice, quite summery sort of fruit bowl there. Yeah, lovely. I don't know if a swirl is going to do much, but yeah, a little bit sharper and a bit more intense with a bit of swirling. Nice. Okay. Nice bit of zing on the palate. I'm glad they didn't go full malolactic. They've kept a little bit of that malic acid, that sort of green apple zing. Doesn't really manifest as green apple here, but appley sort of zing. And pretty dry and pretty mineral, I would say. It was definitely keeping that house style of relatively low dosage. And as always with these Rathfinny wines, really smart, sophisticated, no rough edges to that, really real sense of sort of elegance and refinement there. More of that berry fruit and I think stone fruit, I think sort of peaches, strawberries, raspberries, peaches, that sort of character fruit-wise on the palate as well. Quite mouth-watering, thanks to that bit of zing. Yeah, it's another really impressive wine from Rathfinny. And I love that when they make these mini wines, they do make them slightly different. This is not just the same, I don't believe it's just the same blend of grapes that you get in the rosé, but just bottled in a different format. They tend to do a slightly different blend, and I don't think they've yet released a 2023 from in the standard size bottles, so it's already unique in that sense. But I believe when they do eventually get around to doing a 2023 rosé in the standard size bottles, it'll probably be a different blend. It will probably have had a different length of lees aging. So they do make this a unique, different wine. And I think they are partly tailoring it to the fact that different bottle formats cause the wine to age at different rates and in different ways. But yeah, I think that's another little gem there. Great wine. I love this format. Definitely there's a time and a place for when, as always, a full-size bottle is a bit too much. A half bottle just seems mean. This gives you something in the middle. And again, it is a unique wine. It's not just the regular rosé, in this case, bottled in a different bottle size. They've made a different blend specifically for this. Lovely stuff, Rathfinny. Well done once again. Cheers.